overlap with another question, and you
Right.
can, readjust as we go.
Yeah.
So we were actually thinking if you could give a little introduction to
Mhm.
yourself.
Sure, sure. So I grew up in Philadelphia, and I went to public schools there, and I went to an unusual high school, which was all women, but it was a public school, and there was a companion all boys school, and they were down the street from one another. Um, and I think that was important because it gave me the freedom to learn and excel academically, with fewer distractions than I might have had. But um, I think, I mean, because it was a matter of excelling in an environment with other young women who wanted to excel, and at a time when that was not so common. So, um, and I wouldn't. I'm not sure. I mean, you asked about something about when did you decide you wanted to do a career in science.
Yes.
I would not really say that my high school experience was determinative that way, although I did have some very good science teachers who inspired me, but it was really a mixed bag. And I think that this may be a little surprising, but I think a lot of the training that I got in writing and in speaking were equally important and have turned out to be equally important in my career. So that's how it is. I went to college mostly at Cornell University. Actually, I did a year at Barnard and didn't find it to my liking, so I transferred. But Cornell I liked because that really was very challenging and great science and interesting people and so on. And then Cornell is in a kind of remote and very snowy, cold environment. And so I went across the country to California for grad school. I went straight out of undergrad to my PhD. Maybe not the best decision, but that's what I did, and that's what most people did at that time. And I took a kind of unusual step in that I went to UC San Diego, which was a very new school at that time, and it didn't have a lot of baggage that, in terms of customs that were entrenched. And that was really important to me because I wanted to explore. I wasn't sure what area of chemistry I wanted to do. And I made a lot of changes along the way. So when I started, because I had done research in organic chemistry and in physical organic chemistry, I thought that's what I wanted to do. But it turned out that I preferred the physical chem much more, and I really didn't know that when I got there. So it was a good choice in that I was able to, continue exploring what I wanted to do. And then when I finished 5 years later, I came back across the country and did a postdoc at MIT, which was a very challenging but really excellent experience because that allowed me to explore a different part of the NMR field. And by that time, I had identified myself as an NMR spectroscopist. That became, what I am, who I am professionally. And um, and and that really gave me more independence and focus on, what's the next step? What do I want to do? I mean, rather than being just a student. So that kind of, launched me. But I will say that my career as a professor took a number of turns, as happens with people. I started at Amherst College, and that appealed to me as what I thought would be kind of an equal mix between teaching and research. And it was, in a way, and the students were terrific to work with, and I really enjoyed that. But the research was limited because it doesn't have a grad school. And as I spent time there, I was changing, and I wanted to do more research. And the fact that I wanted to do that was not so popular in my environment, but ultimately I left and I moved to CUNY, and that allowed me to really blossom as a researcher. But it also gave me the opportunity to have what I think is a bigger and broader impact on the students, because the student population, is a lot of first generation and minority students and this and that and the other. And at Amherst, as terrific as it was, you could argue that the students are already on their way to success. And what is the professor accomplishing? Well, you're accomplishing something, but at CUNY, it's very different. And even within CUNY, my first appointment was at the College of Staten Island, which is a comprehensive college with 2-year and 4-year degrees, and then a small number of people working at the higher levels. But and I was there for a long time. But 15 years ago, I moved from the College of Staten Island to City College, which is a very different animal. I mean, the student population is different, and it's much more competitive and ambitious, and it really is a great home for me. And I really developed a pride in the mission and the accomplishments, as well as the challenges at the college. So it's really been very healthy to experience these different environments, I think, because, and you never quite know, are my new professional goals driving this, or do I end up there and that changes me? It's kind of a mix of both. So it's a long career, and I could retire, but I don't feel ready, and I don't feel willing, because I have a lot of things I still want to do, and that makes it very, very enjoyable. So
when you love something you're doing, it's harder to say goodbye. So that makes
sense. I think, it changes what, as you go along, but if you're still loving it, you don't want to say goodbye to it. And that's where I am right now. Yeah.